Welcome into this carrier update. I'm Tony Mulvey, joined by Donny, Gilbert. Donny, it's Monday, which means we're going to break down the reefer market, and we see the recovery from the Thanksgiving holiday. You can see we've actually seen volume growth through the month because if you look back, beginning of November, we're actually higher. We finished the month higher than where we started, which is a positive.
Yeah, so we see the peak right before Thanksgiving. And then, of course, we had our 7-day rolling averages, which shows the drop. And then if you follow this red line right here, we're kind of right in line where we were, just before the holidays. You take this dip, yeah, but you take the two peaks after it, it's pretty close to the same here. Now, rate-wise, on spot rates, we've been fairly stable with spot rates over the past few weeks. Even though we saw rejection rates kind of climbing back up, we saw a little bit of a bump in spot rates, but not a whole lot. All it is kind of showed directionally that they went up a little bit, and that was about it. Let's look at the next chart here. All right, this is me backing out on reefer outbound tender rejection rates. And this pretty well tells the story. From the end of the year, we saw reefer spot rates drop continuously until about the middle of May.
That's right when produce season really ramps up, and I mean it's that driver, that's that peak reefer season when you think about it.
So this started a rebound, a growth in spot rates for reefer. So we saw reefer spot rates kind of start to build back, and they peaked out right here in September. And in September, we saw them kind of start to drift back down, and they've actually kind of leveled out through this later October, November-ish. And we saw a little bit of a bump here, and that's about all we've seen so far. So reefer spot rates, for the most part here recently, have been pretty well plateaued. But yeah, there's some small disruptions here and there that make it go up a little bit, down a little bit, up a little bit, down a little bit.
Yeah, it depends on where you're operating out of and things like that. No different than what we see in the dry van market, right? But it's the markets that are actually impacted are different because, like, I think in the Northeast, it's a prime example. Like, when we're talking about dry van, we talk about Harrisburg. Well, we talk about reefer, we talk about Allentown. They neighbor each other, but one is driven by the reefer market and one is driven by the dry van market. And like this happens all across the country, that there's just little nuances that can affect this on a market to market level.
And of course, what's driving all this on these rates? Go to the next chart.
Yeah.
PPI. And this is what we measure. Who is in charge of the rates, the current rates, the current market conditions? 50 means it is a coin flip between carriers and shippers. Get below 50, it's shippers. Well, we've been down as low as 25 this year, showing that shippers are actually the ones that are in charge of this market, and that shows to be very true.
Yeah, I mean, could we just go back and look where reefer rejection rates at, what, 3%? In May.
Never been below 9%.
Yeah, I mean,
past 4-year history.
Really, anything below 10%, it's kind of that telltale sign that shippers are in control.
Yes.
Dry van, I mean, anything below 5% kind of signals that. We've hit little one-off kind of bumps, but in reality, and this is this longer term
but that's where the
outlook, right? It's not as volatile.
Yeah, you show this fight back, and this is where carriers are fought back, and they may get a little bit of a spike in there, but what you can tell from those spikes is they're very short
in duration.
Maybe height and down, and that shows that it's probably more of a carrier. I mean, more of a shipper. If it was a carrier-controlled market, those spikes would be longer out and more of a longer arch.
And then what this takes into account for isn't those 1 week disruptions, right? Those happen regularly. It's what is the actual trend.
Market over a long trend, yes.
Exactly. So Donny, thank you so much for this update. We'll be sure to check in with you again a little later. Right now, we'll hand it back over to Kaylee Nix.